This review was written by the illustrious Anthony Griffin and put into video form by me. CrimeSight, an enjoyable yet lacking mystery simulation. In the year 2075, the proliferation of online data has made it possible for an analytical program, Foresight AI, to predict crime. This reduced criminal activity by 90% around the globe. However, one day, the system predicts a crime that, if allowed to occur, could plunge the world into chaos. This discovery prompted the creation of Sherlock, an AI with the sole purpose of discovering and preventing this apocalyptic crime before it occurs. Welcome to the world of Konami's CrimeSight, a unique mystery simulation game that arrived on the scene as suddenly as the apocalyptic crime at the core of its narrative. As the player, your role is aid the Sherlock AI by solving clue-style whodunit mysteries to thwart the villainous AI Moriarty and his doomsday plan. Background and context. When I heard about CrimeSight, my initial reaction was one of surprise. Wow, Konami actually made something that isn't a mobile app, pachinko machine, or classics collection. Yes, CrimeSight is an original title from Konami, albeit a budget one with a $19.99 MSRP. Don't let the elaborate sci-fi setting fool you. Once you get past the game's slick presentation and jazzy music, you're left with something more akin to a game of chess than a grand narrative. Considering the game's price, however, CrimeSight is worth your consideration, as long as you prefer a dedicated multiplayer experience. The gameplay loop. CrimeSight's core gameplay loop consists of repeated multiplayer matches with varying parameters, maps, player counts, and so on. Let's get this out of the way from the start. CrimeSight is essentially a multiplayer-only game. Although there are a few single-player tutorial scenarios, these are not something you want to repeat unless you're struggling with the game's admittedly steep learning curve. So if you are looking for a single-player experience, you might as well skip this one. However, if you enjoy constantly engaging in a battle of wits with friends or random online adversaries, CrimeSight just may be worth the price of entry. Each match in CrimeSight replicates that classic murder mystery scenario where a group of strangers are trapped in a building during a snowstorm. It's up to you to either work with the Sherlock AI to discover and protect the victim, or collaborate with Moriarty to manipulate a pawn to murder the target. The whole thing feels like Minority Report meets Final Fantasy Tactics. You operate within a turn-based system, moving characters across a grid to either prevent or establish the conditions that will lead to murder. The whole experience is packed with simple yet well-designed visuals that are easy on the eyes. The user interface is intuitive, simple, and clear. It's unlikely that you'll forget how to execute any of the game's key commands. Even if you do, all of the controls are always visible along the bottom of the screen. Ultimately, CrimeSight is for those looking for a quick, hassle-free mental workout coated in slick, anime-style visuals and smooth music. A typical CrimeSight match lasts only about 15 minutes. Honestly, considering the budget nature of the game, and the fact that Konami is the publisher, I'm shocked that this isn't a mobile game. But anyway, I digress. The verdict. A unique, albeit repetitive game with one possible deal breaker. Overall, I enjoyed my time with CrimeSight. I've honestly never played anything quite like it, and I've been gaming since the early 80s. CrimeSight has a solid rule set that's fun to learn, despite some difficulty in doing so. With everything tied together with such slick presentation, CrimeSight can be hard to put down. However, once I completed all of the tutorial missions and started playing multiplayer matches, a sense of repetitiveness crept in. Sometimes, depending on how a match plays out, it felt like I wasn't doing much more than shuffling pawns around the map. Without a single-player campaign, CrimeSight will leave many gamers thirsting for more content. Additionally, I can't help but be concerned about the longevity of this game. As someone playing in Japan, I had no trouble finding multiplayer matches. However, all it takes is a quick look at Steam reviews to see that people in other regions are already struggling to find opponents across the web. If the player count is this low now, what does the future hold for CrimeSight? Still, considering the game's price and accessibility, CrimeSight is worth a look if you love puzzles, mysteries, and anime aesthetics. If you approach this game as you would something like chess or checkers, games that are infinitely repeatable with unpredictable outcomes by design, then you'll find something to love in CrimeSight. Just make sure that you get a couple of friends involved in the mystery to ensure that there will always be a Moriarty awaiting to challenge your Sherlock.